So many movies, no time to watch them all. But Twig wants to see them, so we gave Twig a call. Now they're bringing on the friends, and together they will view these. So sit back and relax. It's Twig's Missing Movies.
Hello and welcome to Twig's Missing Movies, a show dedicated to watching the movies that Twig inexplicably hasn't seen. I'm your host, Freak, and here is our cinematically clueless Corvus Twig.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome in.
Welcome in. Welcome out. Welcome. Just kind of hanging in the doorway, not sure if you should stay in. Whatever your position is relative to this theater. You are welcome. Because this month is all about being welcoming.
And being hella gay and doing hella crimes.
Yeah, be gay, do crimes. But not in this theater, please. This is not the kind of theater where we have rowdy Minecraft screenings. Please do not throw stuff at the screen. It's just Jack Black saying chicken jockey. It's not
Chicken Jackie.
I mean,
I watched that movie recently with Vaughn and Zyrax, and if you let go of the movie, right? If you're like, you know what, I don't need this movie to be perfect, right? I just need it to make me laugh and entertain me. It does it really well. If you let go of all of expectations and just go, this is gonna be a bad movie, it's a fun movie.
All right, well, let's not talk about it too much because a previous guest of ours, Dovely, who made us watch Romeo and Juliet, has expressed interest in making me watch the Minecraft movie for this show.
Okay.
But one thing I did want to talk about that I did hear is that somebody was saying that these rowdy screenings of the Minecraft movie, it's just this generation's Rocky Horror. And I want to know, no, and no.
and no, and watch along movies have always existed, though. It's not fair to just say Rocky Horror, because Rocky Horror, it goes beyond the movie.
Rocky
it goes
Horror
into the plays. It goes into the culture. Minecraft doesn't have culture outside of sweaty old men.
Yeah.
Me.
And children. Minecraft.
No, I don't know any kids that play it anymore. All the kids I knew that played Minecraft are now like 22 years old.
Trust me, it's still very popular with children. It's still very, very popular with children.
You. I don't interact with children, so
good. I prefer not to. Only the ones I'm related to. And even then,
Kenny was at best.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like Rocky Horror. As far as the rowdy movies that have like, regular showings that persist, I don't think any movie has really persisted as much as Rocky Horror has. I mean, yeah, there's been other movies where they do midnight showings past its run, like they've done it for The Room and, there's other examples, but none of them have endured the way Rocky Horror has.
I would say that Lord of the Rings, because Rocky Horror has been around for how many decades now?
It's
quite a few.
Like almost 50 years old.
But I would say that like the idea of like doing a full unedited version of Lord of the Rings in a movie theater has been around just as long. I mean, it's not the same kind of concept, but there are other movies with staying power too. I have to point out, Oh
yeah. Well, one thing I do like is one of my local movie theaters does a every weekend they do a throwback movie. And they do like a big popular movie from the past. So they've done the big ones like, Back to the Future, like Big. I think recently they just did Rocky 2. It's just like they do, it'd be cool. Like I've wanted to go to those a few times just because it's like, it'd be cool to see these classic films actually in a theater, There's something to say about the theater-going experience. I mean, when I saw Sinners earlier this month, I'm so glad I saw it in a theater. And the theater was pretty full, too. And having the reactions of the other people around us in the theaters definitely... I mean, there was a point when, there was, an African American couple sitting next to us, and one of the triumphant moments of the film, just hearing them go, "Yes, that's yes," and it's just like, yeah, that's great, you know.
I need to see Sinners still. Everyone keeps telling me to go see it, and I keep losing time. Like, I just don't have time to go see it at this point.
And it might not be even in your theaters where you live anymore.
But no, I do like when movie theaters do those kind of like throwback stuff. I used to work at a place called Alamo Draft House, which is a movie theater that serves dinner. Some of you might already be familiar with it. I loved working there, by the way. I opened the theater with a crew of 30 other people. I was like one of the first 10 people they ever hired there. So it was a special place for me, at least. But I always loved doing the throwback movies because we did a midnight showing of The Room. We actually got one of the guys from In It to come and like do a Q&A. We did the Post movie, and we had. It was another. It wasn't Meryl Streep, and it wasn't Tom Hanks, but it was someone else from the movie who was also a big actor who came and did a Q&A.
I don't remember Tom Hanks or Meryl Streep being in The Room.
No, The Post.
Oh, The Post.
I said The Post. The Post. We did Rocky Horror Picture Show. They let all the servers dress up and drag if they want to. Like, they bought costumes for people to wear. So I got to wear that. And
were you magenta?
What?
Were you magenta?
No, it was like generic drag, like really shitty generic drag shit. But my manager bet me that I couldn't serve the entire movie in stilettos. She bet me $200, and I got that $200.
Nice.
Anyone who's not familiar with how impressive this actually is, at the Alamo Draft House, there are rows of the seats, and then there's a row between each seat that's kind of sunken down for servers to come and bring you food. And the idea is that they're supposed to like get down below your viewing level and just drop the food off like a food ninja, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that with trays of food the entire show.
And you did not break your ankles.
I did not break my ankle, and the stiletto did not break.
Great
Notably,
job.
the stiletto broke the next night when someone else tried to wear the stilettos before I showed up. So,
fun times.
Eat shit.
Yeah. Dressing up in drag, yeah, it's fun. I'm going to be dressing up in drag for Pride celebration this year, but I also like it when you see it in movies and you don't even realize it. Like, did you know that in the movie Hook, the pirate that is thrown into the boo box is actually a woman dressed up as a man, and that woman is Glen Close.
That's funny you say that.
Really?
Because there's another movie where she does exactly that, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Wow, what a transition.
What a transition. Our smoothest one yet. No one look it in the eye. We're talking about Albert Nobbs, chosen by our guest this week, Tarif Misu. One of I think that's how you pronounce the name?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's topical. It's gay month. We're gonna be watching a bunch of gay movies this year, guys. This month. Get used to it. We're here. We're queer, and we're gonna talk about queer movies at you for an hour or more.
Yeah. And so yeah, this is a movie. I mean, yeah. Look at Albert Nobbs in the middle. That gentleman butler. Except
it
not
is
a gentleman.
Released on January 27th, 2012, directed by Rodrigo Garcia. It was received. It sits at about a 56% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb. It has a star-studded cast. As we said, Glen Close is in it. Janet McTeer, Mia Wasikowski, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, Brendan Gleeson, Pauline Collins, Dolores Mullally. The list is pretty good. Some of these might be for some of you more British actors that you may not have heard of or may know but don't realize you know.
Yeah, because a lot of those names you listed, it's just like, okay, that name sounds familiar, but I can't put a face to it. Yeah,
and I feel like you're gonna watch the movie, you're like, oh, that's who that is. Okay. And that's going to be a lot of this movie for
You know what
for
movies
people who
need to
watch it.
do? Anytime in a movie TV show, when a character appears for the first time, they should just have like a little floating subtitle of that actor's name.
Well, they used to do that. Movies used to do that. Um, if you ever watch a movie from like the 60s or the 70s, you had tons of movies that had these really long intros, and they would go,
The Sting had
blank name
that.
as the blah.
Yeah,
You know?
they had that in the intro of The Sting that we recently watched.
Yeah, they did. And I think it's something that needs to come back.
Yeah.
I really like long intros because they can do two things, right? They can introduce the characters, so that way you don't have your mom in your ear asking, who's that again? Who's that supposed to be? And then you can also kind of do the setup for the entire movie.
I saw somebody that did if Game of the Thrones came out in the 90s and they put like a 90s filter over it.
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones, yeah. But then they had like more upbeat music, but then they had like clips from the show, but they would have like, the character's name underneath it like they would do on those long intros in like 90s shows. It was great.
Oh god, yeah. It, like I said, released January 27th, 2012. It had a budget of $6 million, box office of 8.5 million. Sorry, 6 million euros, which is $7.5 million dues, and then $8.5 million dues at the box office.
So it basically broke
Worldwide.
even.
It basically broke even plus a little bit. It wasn't well received. But despite that, it did win some rewards. Some rewards.
Some
awards. Some rewards. It won AARP's movie for grown-ups, Best Actress for Glen Close. It won the Alliance of Women Film Journalists Female Icon Award, Glen Close. Most Egregious Love Interest, Age Difference Award, Glen Close. That's an award I didn't even know existed until I looked it up. Irish Film and Television Academy, Best International Actress, Glen Close. Best Makeup and Hair, Lorraine Glynn and Lynn Johnson. Best Original Score, Brian Byrne. Best Sound, Brendan Deasy, Niall Bradley, Michelle Cuniff, and Stephen Flanagan. And a bunch of other ones. Most of them going to, of course, Glen Close. It got nominated for a bunch of other ones. It was nominated for Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Original Score, and for the Golden Globes. Got some satellite awards, got some Screen Actors Award nominations, but not really anything from like what you would consider like the major movie awards, right? At least in the Americano sphere. I don't know. I watched it once during Pride Month at school, I think. It was like the last week of school when we watched it. That was probably like my second introduction to the category of queer this movie is. Ever. First being obviously Rocky Horror. But yeah, with all that information in hand, Twig, what do you know about this movie?
I know that Glen Close plays a character who is a butler, and that I believe the character still identifies as she, her, but lives... Like, I don't know. I know that it's basically a woman posing as a male butler and has been doing so for a long time. Like, this isn't like the origin story of how she became a butler. This is like, oh, she's been living this life for a long time. But also, I feel bad saying she because this also, like, I want to say he because it feels like, this person is a trans man. But I don't know if in the movie, that's the thing is, I don't know if in the movie they explicitly refer to Albert Nobbs as a trans man, or if it is supposed to be a trans man, or if it's supposed to be depicted as a woman who is just dealing with life living as a man. So I actually don't know that, but I know that it's an AFAB person living as a man butler. Let's just put it that way. That's probably the best way to put it.
I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
So okay, so that's what you know. How come you haven't watched this movie yet? It seems like you do know at least more than you've known about the past few movies.
Because that's what Tariff told me when she recommended this movie, and when they were talking to me about it, I had actually never heard of this movie until 2 weeks ago.
That's fair.
So everything that I know is what Tariff told me, and whatever they told me, I'm just trying to remember what they told me. Yeah, I had not even heard of this movie until 2 weeks ago. So that's why I haven't seen it.
If it makes you feel any better, I forgot this movie even existed until Tariff mentioned it.
It's not a movie that is talked about a lot.
It's not popular. It's not popular. There are lots of other movies that do kind of what this is doing, but better.
Like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
No,
but I don't think the two are comparable.
No.
Here, but
no. Mrs. Doubtfire is absolutely not a queer. Well, I mean, it is a little bit because his brother is. We love.
I got you.
What's that? What's that guy with the guy who talks like this? It's like
what's his name?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like Harvey something. I want to say.
I'm trying to think. Man, you're making me think when I don't have to think usually.
I know, and I feel bad about it. Harvey Fierstein.
Yeah. I almost said Harvey Weinstein, and I'm like, that's not the right person at all.
No. Harvey Fierstein is one of those guys that he's that character actor that was in like a million things. But he's very clearly in a gay relationship with Mrs. Doubtfire, and he's the one who makes the prosthetics for Robin Williams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't talk. I want to talk about it.
Well,
I want to talk about it now.
Well, then I guess we should get to my predictions and then watch the movie so we can talk about it on Sunday.
Get to your fucking predictions.
Okay. Okay. First prediction is that. Oh boy. I'm gonna say we will not have a flashback to when Albert first becomes a butler. So I don't think they're gonna show that at all. I think it's just gonna basically be in media res. You know, they are butler now. They are living their life, doing it fine. I'm going to guess that Albert has one close friend who is aware of the secret and helps them keep it. So that's gonna be a prediction. There's gonna be a character who's like, "Hey, I know what you are, but I'm cool with it, and I'm on your team. I'm on your team." Let's see here. I'm going to... Okay, I feel like there's a few things that need to happen more in the middle, but...
the traditional arcs.
Yeah, because I know what my last couple of predictions are going to be. Because, like, okay, I'm just gonna do a little crow symbol for... So, okay, a later prediction is going to be that Albert will be discovered and will be subsequently fired from their job. I'm just going to use they, them pronouns until I know if they identify as male or not, because that just
That's
seems...
a safe bet.
Yeah.
That's a safe bet.
And then the house will fall into chaos in their absence.
Like any good butler.
Yep.
If you disappear,
and
you need to make sure the house falls apart.
The family will accept Albert for who they are and welcome them back. So, okay. So I just need kind of one, like, middle prediction, I guess, now. And I'm going to say that, Albert will have an attraction to a man, but be unable to pursue due to, presenting male. I need to shorten this one up so it doesn't cut off the screen.
Yeah, it's a little long.
I'm just gonna. There we go. I have an attraction to a man unable to pursue due to presenting male. There we go. Just got some words. We don't need full grammar here. We just need the gist of it.
Just the gist.
These seem like kind of obvious plot points for a story with this premise. So this is one where I hope I'm wrong, and I hope this movie goes places I'm not expecting, and I hope I'm pleasantly surprised. I know it has a low rating, but also this type of movie might be the kind of movie that gets a low rating despite being actually great. So, it's a topic that mainstream people, especially in 2012, may not have been ready for. So,
I think that we're not gonna. We need to go watch the movie.
We need to watch the movie. I'm looking forward to discussing this. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I'm going to go in with an open mind and an open heart.
You better.
Well, we'll be back in, for you, we'll be about 5 seconds. But in the meantime, we'll have watched Albert Nobbs. Yay! We watched a movie.
Hello, everybody.
Yay!
Welcome back. That was the fastest movie watch in history.
Well, no, I think we watched it slightly faster last week.
Did you?
Oh.
Well, everyone, welcome in. I hope everyone's Sundays are going well. This is our guest today, Tariff Misu.
I'm speaking to you from the other side. I'm a ghost.
You're not that transparent. I mean, it becomes obvious if I move you up here and you can kind of see the ghosting through the.
I thought
see a little bit of ghosting.
I thought becoming more transparent had everything to do with having a kid.
Being a transparent.
Do we have Albert in a can? No, we do not have Albert in a can. But we do have Tariff Misu.
Well, you better let him out.
Which a lot of y'all are raiders from Tariff Stream, so y'all already know them. And
you already know.
But, I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, Tariff, why don't you say a little about yourself?
My name is Tariff Misu. I'm a Cerberus VTuber. I do art, and I do animation, and I play video games with my friends, and sometimes I do voice acting.
Yeah, it sums up pretty good. And their art's very good. Yep. Very fun, very cute.
Thank you. Thank you.
Click the description. The links to Tariff is in
click
the description.
Me.
Also to Dreyfrig, if, for some reason you're one of the people watching this and you're like, who the heck is Dreyfrig?
I'm just the best Raven
do
you've
some
ever
research.
Met.
The best, just the best. Actually, yeah.
I don't think I've met that many.
I've met a few.
Now you know that I'm the best.
Yeah.
What does it tell you about yourself and not me? Definitely not me.
Yeah.
Now I know you are the best.
The best.
I know a lot of crows,
The best. The best.
But we're not here to talk about me.
The best. The best. Sorry.
Sorry. I swear to God, it sounded like the winds of infidelity in here.
Infidelity? I'm not an infidel.
No.
I'm not a DT.
My wife.
I don't have a wife.
We're not here to talk about any of that, though. We brought you on, Tariff, to talk about Albert Nobbs, a Glen Close movie. Start off. It's Pride Month. We gave everyone a task that we were having on this month to choose a gay movie or gay themed, as it is, the month of the gays.
Gay month.
So gay.
Gay month. Why did you choose Albert Nobbs?
'Cause I feel like it's really underrated. I think it's a really interesting dive into not only like transness, but also like what's like people's perception on gender and like even like people's perception on like femininity, especially like in the olden days of like what it means to be female and what it means to be male, and the opportunities that are provided for both, and the stigmas that are surrounded by either. I think it's a very like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of gender roles, and there's a lot of like kind of like the idea of community in it a lot, I feel like, because throughout the movie, Glen Close's character, and I think that Twig said that there was a part that really cemented, but I feel like Glen Close's character feels like a means to an end for most of their life, as to toward the end, the thing of the movie is them discovering they can be more than just like surviving, because they found like community and friendship, and they found like something that is possible, like being able to figure out like, oh, I can live a life that isn't just like hiding and surviving. I can go out and I can thrive and be happy because I've seen someone else like me that is doing that, which gave them the courage to do something similar. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important.
So in summary, You're saying representation matters.
I might be saying that.
This movie might be a really good example of that.
But, well, you had mentioned, this is like, one of the big questions, I guess, that kind of is raised with this is Albert Nobbs a trans man? And after having watched the movie now, I come firmly on the position of yes. And you said that there was one scene that cemented it for me, and it's when...
Well, you told me that.
When Albert is talking with Hubert. And Hubert says, "What's your name?" "Albert Nobbs." "No, what's your real name?" "Albert Nobbs."
Albert.
Yeah.
Or Albert, yeah. So
yeah,
that is his real name. Like, cleared out, plain as day. What's your real name? It's Albert. That means, yes, my identity is Albert. I am a man named Albert. Albert's a trans man. To me, that scene right there cements it. I don't think you could argue otherwise to say, no, you couldn't say Albert is a woman living as a man. At that point, to me, Albert is a man.
Yeah,
and
I think I have to agree with you. And I mean, I having watched this both when I was ostensibly cis and straight, and now watched it as a bisexual agender person. This movie has wildly different like feelings for me, especially insofar as, again, what Tara said was, with representation, learning that you don't just have to be in survival mode the entire time, and we kind of see that in the movie too, with how Albert is always counting the money, right? And is always aiming for whatever that is that's saving them, that they're saving for. And I guess it's a really good point about the movie too, is that, I don't know, there's a lot I could say about this movie.
Well,
there's a lot to say about it.
I don't know where I want to start. I think I want to start, though. We're going to talk about a little bit about the reception of the movie. I think it was ahead of its time. Had it been released today, I think it would have been much better received, personally.
I don't know. To literally, like, today, I think it probably would have been better received, but I also think it would have been more controversial. Just given this landscape, as to where, like, when it came out, I think that, I don't think it would have to be louder. I think that just because of how controversial it is to just be trans in this day and age, like, having even just like a like lesbian like concept, like, not I guess, like, to say it's lesbian is like incorrect, because it is a heterosexual relationship, but I think that most people would, or not most people, but the people.
Well, here's the thing: it's not a homosexual relationship, but it is a queer relationship, because one of the members
it is a queer
of it
relationship.
is a, yeah. Is that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, there's plenty of cis people who, are in relationships with a transgender person of the opposite gender,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I like when I say today, I meant like this general era, because 2010 is a very different era than what we live on now. Like maybe like
we have
3-4 years ago before ongoing events, right?
2015 is the when the Supreme Court ruled that gay marriage was legal throughout the entire country. So this was 5 years before and so after gay marriage became legal throughout, the right had a harder time attacking the gays, especially when, nothing bad happened from gays being allowed to marry. So they kind of had to move on to the next target to focus their hate on. So trans people have always been around. The issues have always existed, but it's because gays got more rights and more accepted with right-leaning people that they had to find a new enemy to target. And that's why I think trans issue. But because they were attacked more, the knowledge about trans people and the conversation about them from people who actually understand transness has had to become more open and mainstream to combat the hate. Does that, I don't know, agree or disagree?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because they want to closet you, you have to be louder.
Yeah. I certainly know a hell of a lot more about trans people than I did in 2010. A hell of a lot more. It also helps that, I've befriended many trans people and, listen to them and watch things by transgender creators. And, when people have things to say, the best thing I can do as a cis man is shut the fuck up and listen.
Exactly.
Imagine listening to your friends. Crazy work.
I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm such a woke I'm one of the good ones when it comes to a straight way. But I listen to a lot of.
I'm one of the good ones. They're lying.
I know, but it's like I do. I listen to podcasts by queer and people of colors. Like that's over. I like this because I think also because they're awesome people that make great content. But I think it's important to have diverse. It's important to get diversity within the things you listen to and watch.
Yeah,
agree.
Absolutely.
Different points of view.
Yeah.
What was I remember reading a tweet a while ago, and it basically came down to don't read books from different perspectives because they interest you. Do it because it challenges you to find interest in them.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too, and I like it a lot. That's why I end up reading a lot of books that I may not necessarily go for. I remember reading Gideon the Ninth because I don't read a lot of women for women media because it doesn't really interest me. I read the book. I liked the book. What I walked away from was that the author is really terrible with their characters because the characters each are individually very cool characters, but the author suffers in their writing of those characters. There's a lot of good setup for it, but that's that. But again, I wouldn't have walked away because now I have this interest in really good character development and character arcs from that I ostensibly had before, but now I really can appreciate when a book has it. Right, and I look
now
for
you can
more.
See it.
Yeah, especially when it comes to women characters, which is something that I struggle to relate to a lot, obviously because I was raised as a male. So
my condolences.
It is what it is, right? And like right now, for example, I'm reading through the Hunger Games books, and I can relate to Katniss a lot, more than I probably could have if I had read this when I was 14 and it was popular, And so I think that's really important when you like that tweet said, don't read something because it interests you, read it because it challenges you to find interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not necessarily like gay podcasts or podcasts by gay people or gay media, right? But if you challenge yourself to find something interesting in it, I guarantee you will find something that is interesting eventually because Lo and behold,
There's a
we
lot
are
of
all
it.
humans at the end of the day, and there is something out there for everyone. Yeah, there's a lot of it, right? It's like VTubing. There's something out there for everyone.
Yeah. And the last thing you want in a podcast is just listening to two white guys talk about movies.
Yeah, that's why we're too.
Throwing up. Bleh.
But no, I really like Albert Nobbs. I watched it again like today with dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I don't know.
okay. I mean, let's go throughout like the basic things of
you
movie
go-
making,
you go-
what they
you-
did
you
well.
do-
So,
You do good.
the costuming, I mean, spot on. They it's late 1800s Dublin. They got the costuming great, and I hope that the Academy at least acknowledges this movie for like costuming, because I feel like it probably deserves something there. The cinematography I thought was very good. The shots were well put together. You were never confused about it. There was some good, fun, interesting shots. Just like each shot, like, I mean, look at this screenshot right here. Like, that's a nice shot. It conveys it nicely. The framing is good. So, got to give it great marks for cinematography. And then the acting. Oh my god, the acting in this movie I think is the best part of the movie. The characters just do so well, and I think 90% of the acting in this movie that makes it so great is not the lines and the delivery, but it's the physicality and the facial expressions.
I was gonna say they say a lot with no words.
Oh
there's a whole lot, especially like, and it's not just Glen Close's character Albert Nobbs, but he especially, because he's closeted in a way and tries to like keep to himself and not rouse suspicion.
Classic sign of someone deep in the closet.
Yeah, he doesn't say much, so like he's a bit stunted in that way. And you see a lot of like, there's just so much that just shines through in just like the facial expressions, or like a sigh tells you so much about what's going on. It's crazy.
Yeah,
and it's not just him either. Like even the doctor there, he's got a good.
I liked the doctor. I liked that.
The
character.
doctor was
he
cool.
was fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
and like
I loved
Mary, his girl that he was with, her like eye rolls spoke volumes.
Mm-hmm. Also, right there, that is an Irish woman. Oh.
Yeah.
Kathleen was her name, the character's name?
Kathleen.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Kathleen.
Rest in peace.
Oh, rip a Kathleen.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the timeline in this movie goes by kind of fast. Like, time passes by.
Do you want a movie that shows you the 3 weeks it would travel for them to get to the coast?
No. I'm not saying so like, just like things happen, just like, oh god, Kathleen's dead now. But
yeah, because.
But that doesn't mean it was bad. It was just like sometimes it's like, oh, it just took me a second to catch up to when we were, and like how much long after the scene was compared to the previous scene. But I don't think that that's to the movie's detriment. In fact, I thought the pacing of this movie was pretty good too. There weren't
it's
any
a 2-hour movie.
I know,
but it doesn't drag at all.
It didn't feel its length. There were no scenes where I was just like, okay, let's move along with the plot. The plot kept moving along, and the characters, I think that was very well put together. The soundtrack, I believe, was quite good. I mean, I can't remember any specifics of it now, but I mean, part of it is making a soundtrack is just conveying the emotion of the scene, and I felt the emotions of the scene, so the soundtrack feels to me pretty good,
Ooh.
I mean, it didn't have like a big
distract you.
It didn't have a big memorable theme like, Back to the Future or Star Wars, but it's still
Not every
the
movie
soundtrack
needs one,
No, it doesn't. The soundtrack fit.
It facilitated the
movie.
mood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I thought it was an interesting cast of characters because there wasn't really, like, I suppose the closest thing you get to a villain is Joe. I think his name is Joe. The douchebag.
Joseph.
Yeah.
Joseph Mackins.
Which,
He be Mackin.
it was kind of interesting how the beginning of the movie makes it set up like he might, be like a love interest or something, or that he might be like kind of the up and comer. He like the beginning of the movie is kind like with him getting fired for being a little bit clumsy, trying to find a new job, having the triumphant fixing the boiler. That's like the beginning of a hero's arc, and then he doesn't. Then he turns bad. I mean, I guess he was always probably not that good of a guy, but,
Well, I think that his thing is that he is an arrogant survivalist. He's not really... He's, like, his actions are always self-serving. Yeah. He's not super empathetic, and he's not, like... He doesn't really care about others beyond what they can do for him.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of like trying to guilt trip, a lot of manipulation, and those are just signs of like trying to survive in this era that they're in, where there's just like sickness and poverty happening. So he's just trying to like secure his place, and he will do that through whatever means necessary.
Yeah, the way
that
making Helen
is not great.
Making Helen lie to Albert in order to get him.
That whole scenario pisses me off so much.
Yeah.
But I was, you know what? I mean, obviously that was the intent of the movie, but I was very frustrated with Albert during this movie. Because Albert is dutiful. Albert is good with math. Albert is a kind, good person. Albert's kind of dumb. And yeah. I don't think it's necessarily out of, like, stupidity, but more like Albert does dumb things, but it's as a result because Albert doesn't know how to be, like, a proper man and has never dated before. So, like, Albert's inability to pick up on that Helen is not a good fit for him, that Helen is never going to love him, all those things that Albert... it's not a stupidity due to lack of wisdom, it's stupidity due to a lack of knowledge. It's out of ignorance, because having to live naivety. His life the way that he's lived it, exactly. He's naive about it because he's never had the ability to, be a man pursuing a woman. He's basically stunted because of the life he's had to live.
Yeah. And I mean, even when he's interacting with Hubert and Kathleen, he's still stunted, and they try to like have him open up, and he does, to their credit, but like the things that, like, whenever he's like, oh yeah, he fell down and got a black eye from the coal hole, they're like, oh haha, you're so funny, you're telling a joke. And he's like, he's not telling a joke. He's just like, this is something that happened, and they interpret it as a joke because they're like, oh, the coal, he got a black eye, you're a funny guy. But then you see that he wasn't joking. He was just telling them basically just about his day, because they were like, oh, their interesting stuff must happen. And he's like, I mean, I guess somebody fell down and hurt themselves. And they're like, oh, you're so funny. And like, that's not really what he was trying to get across. But then he was like, oh, cool, these people like me. Like, he was getting like the feedback of, people laughing and camaraderie, which are things that he is not familiar with. Yeah. He didn't.
Go ahead.
He didn't figure out. Yeah, he didn't know how to order chocolate. He doesn't know how to like order things for himself, because he's literally just been working, trying to save things up.
Yeah.
To get himself like, and he wants to be a tobacconist and doesn't know how to like roll a cigarette.
I know that stood out to me too. It's just like, Albert,
yeah.
If Albert had bought that shop and gotten everything that he wanted, he would have lost it all.
What would he have actually done? Yeah, because he
doesn't know how to run a shop. He doesn't know how to set up supply chains and service.
He doesn't even have like great personable skills, like in terms of like selling. He can follow orders great, and he's like nice enough to the point where and has a good memory and is considerate. He's very kind and considerate. Like, he remembers people are allergic to certain flowers, or he remembers that people prefer certain alcohols and stuff like that. But that's not gonna serve him as well in being a tobaccist, because that would require a lot more.
It's a completely different skill set.
Soft skills.
Yeah.
It's a completely different skill set. Like, he could probably, once he got a customer base, like the skill set that he has of like remembering people and stuff like that would help him. But because I think that if he ever got if he ever got a foot in the door, he'd be set. But since he is so stunted, like, socially, that he would have had, I don't think he would have got up.
Yeah.
I don't know what the term I'm looking for.
I don't think his business would have survived.
But the thing is it's like
not.
the movie knows that. The screenwriter knew that, and all the things that Albert is bad at and dumb about are things that are shaped by who he is and how he had to live. So it's really, really good screenwriting. Like,
the characterization is phenomenal.
Albert acts in a way that to us seems completely irrational, but it all completely tracks with who he is and how he has lived his life. And that's just, I gotta give my props to the writer,
Well, I think that I don't think it's irrational in that, like, it makes sense for him. Like, to any other person, like, nobody would react like that. To say that it's irrational, I think, is incorrect, because it makes total sense, like you said, for his character and how he's like had to survive and adapt. His adaptability was to close off, and it worked for him, but it stunted him severely, which is apparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he saved up the money because he wasn't spending it on anything. I think he was saving it up, and it seemed like he did always have the goal to be the tobaccoist. But I think it was more of I think based off of like what you see, he had probably way more than enough money to do it. But I think it was the chase that more kept him going rather than actually going through with it. Because even in his like, I was like, is this a spoiler free? I'm like, no, it's not.
Well, he was in Ireland, so I think maybe if he just waited a little longer, he could have saved up enough money, and then he would have been able to book a ticket on this new big luxury liner that was built there in Ireland, and probably would have happened around 1912.
No.
Nothing would have gone wrong in the North Atlantic. Would not have ran into Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Ow. Ow.
I think that a lot of his, like, and you see this with people normally too, right? Is that like you said, he didn't have anything to spend it on because he didn't have anything outside of what he had his sights on the entire time, right? Which was like owning a shop or saving up to afford to live on his own.
What a completely different life, because from what it seemed, working at the hotel, they covered his room and they covered his food. So he basically lived at work, and so he probably wasn't making too much money on top of that, because, they're all like, well, we'll provide for your room and board, but then we are only going to be getting you 5 pence per week afterwards, stuff like that.
Yeah, which is why most of his money is made via, like, tipping. He has tip economy.
But that's the thing, is that, like, he buys his own place. Suddenly he's going to realize that rent and paying for your own food are things.
Yeah.
And
I mean, just based off of like how much money the lady spent at the end, I think the owner blackmailed Helen too. So like, I think that I still think that the tobaccoist thing was never something that he was ever going to actually pursue. Because I think that he's someone who avoids, he's very avoidant, and that's like a risky thing to do. And he has no reason to rock the boat outside. So I do think it was just more of a for the chase kind of thing.
Yeah.
Give himself a goal, something to look forward to, wake up for.
Yeah.
I can see that, but at the same time, I think that a lot of his fear with not taking responsibility or action, right, is the consequences of failing. And I think him meeting Hubert, right, gave him a lot of confidence that, I could do this. I definitely deserve this.
I like Hubert.
Oh no, I totally agree, but I think up until that moment, that was never going to happen. I think that was meeting somebody who was successful gave him the courage to actually like set it off, which is why he was like, oh, this is actually possible. It's not just like a pipe dream. Like, this person is making a living and has a wife, and the wife has a shop, and they're happy. Like, I could do that, but I don't know where to start, and I don't know how to do it. And which is why like he became so obsessed with Hubert and his wife that he was just like, I gotta know how can I also like thrive. How do I thrive versus surviving? Like, I want to have what you have. I want to feel something outside of just like the daily grind.
Yeah. Oh, God, that job, because it's just like, yes, Albert's very good at it but like, you just see how abusive the guests are to the staff. Like,
typical of the time.
And probably
like the only one that even really treats
certain places around the world.
Still typical. But I think the only person that really tries to like connect with Albert at all is the doctor. Everyone else is just like passively existing near him.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, that Albert, he's an odd fellow. But the doctor
he's so kind.
But the doctor actually seems to try and befriend him and make conversation with him. It's like, yeah, I like the doctor's interesting because he's definitely a flawed character, but he's not a bad guy.
No, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and apparently he's quite skilled at with his fingers
with the ladies.
I didn't see any fingers involved in that scene.
Yeah, I suppose he's got.
That was all mustache, brother.
He's got that mouth tickler for a reason.
Yeah,
that's for damn certain.
Yeah, there's just
that's very.
But okay, I mean, obviously every episode of this show is spoiler heavy, but then we kind of get to the end of the movie, and like Albert kind of confronts Joe about the things, and then in anger, Joe throws him against the wall, and he gets a head injury and goes to lie down and goes to sleep after having a concussion, which apparently can be real bad. And was real bad.
Yeah, that is a real problem. If you think
you have a concussion, do not go to bed.
Do not go to sleep. Yeah. Oh, it was whenever I first watched this, I was screaming. Whenever he clearly like was concussed and then like was going to bed, I was like, no, stop him, you fucks, he's gonna die, because like my mom is a nurse, so like I was like, no, he's dead, he's fucking dead, he's gonna die right now.
So yeah,
I was so distraught.
I mean, I was not expecting Albert to die. That wasn't even a thing that came up as my mind as a possibility when I was doing the predictions.
Yeah, you weren't expecting it. That's why I had to fucking choke myself off at the very end with the fucking comments about the movie.
You're like, I'm gonna shut up right quick.
This does lead into a good segue of Twig. Let's pull up your prediction. Let's see how you did.
Yeah.
I'm getting the red markers for you right now.
Can we talk a little bit more about the ending before we bring up the predictions?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
I wish we would.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, just like how, Albert dies and it's discovered, and they talk about it being like big in the newspaper, but nobody after Albert dies has anything bad to say about Albert. There's not like, they don't say like, oh, what a lying scumbag, I can't believe it, filthy. No, they don't use any of those words. They talk about, oh, Albert was a woman, but they all still, but none of them say anything bad about him, because I think people just still genuinely liked Albert, because Albert never did anything to anger anyone, you know.
I think it's also a lot. It says a lot about like the characters who did say something right, that you know his boss would say was like, oh, what a shame, and then steals his money. But like the doctor's very clearly, oh, I'm gonna miss Albert.
Yeah, like
very clearly the doctor did not care.
I don't care.
The discovery is shocking, but I don't think the doctor,
because Albert was still
I hate you.
Was still his friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like if one of the friends that I've made online suddenly was like, by the way, I'm a different sex than you thought I was, I'd be like, okay, you're still my friend.
Like, good for you, Sark. Yes, Sark, my condolences. Like, good for you. I don't really know how to respond.
I grew up in the early days of the internet. I can tell you that I had multiple girls that I became friends with that later were like, actually, I'm a guy. And then one of them was later like, actually, I am a girl. That's...
Detroit became trans.
Well, that's it. But anyway, then one of the things that we were kind of talking about after the watch-along is how, well, one character kind of did get a happy ending. I mean, kind of bittersweet ending, let's call it, because Hubert did end up with Helen, and Hubert now not only Hubert had mentioned that he was attracted to Helen quite a bit, like was talking up Helen quite a bit, apparently even to his wife. But then when Kathleen dies, which is very tragic, this is why it's bittersweet, because obviously he would have preferred Kathleen stays alive, but he does get a woman that he thinks is a great woman, and he gets to be a father, which is something that he was probably certain that he'd never get to do. So it is kind of a happy... It is kind of a happy ending for Hubert there.
Yeah, and maybe Helen to a degree.
I would like to think Helen, you know, she's not happy at the ending, but we get the feeling things are going to be okay for her.
I think that's kind of how it is for both of them. I don't think that Hubert's particularly happy, and I don't think that Helen's particularly happy, but I think it's alluded that they have, like, there's light at the end of the tunnel for them. Like, there's going to be nice stuff. Oh, yeah, the doctor also left with his maid woman. So I guess he got a happy ending, and she for sure did.
Oh, yeah, the doctor got a happy ending, all right.
Wooga.
Yeah, God, if anything for Hubert, marrying Helen, who's already got a child, that'll help him keep his secret even easier, because who would suspect when there's a baby in the picture?
Right. And I suspect that, you know, Helen wouldn't say anything, especially given that she respected Albert so deeply. She named her child after him.
Yeah. So yeah, interesting ending. I just want to talk about that a bit before we went to...
No, that's fine.
No, it was a good ending.
I kind of glossed over the ending on you. That was my bad, but...
All right, well, let's bring up those predilections. All right. We will not have a flashback to when Albert first becomes a butler. I was correct.
You were correct. They didn't do that.
And he will not be a butler, so I'm even double correct there.
Yeah, he didn't become a butler. He became... Yeah, he did talk about his story, so to speak.
Yep.
But it was not a flashback. There was no flashbacks.
So one close friend who's aware of the secret and helps them keep it. I mean, we said that this is like... I mean, this is not a full green, but so it's definitely a yellow. But I feel like this is like a yellow that very leans towards green.
I would
say it's a yellow.
I would say it's a yellow because
is yellow.
He does get
because they're not super close friends, and Hubert doesn't really do anything to help them.
Help keep the secret.
Yeah.
The only thing he does is not narc.
Yeah, it's not like the situation I was thinking was like, you know, Albert's about to get caught, and then the other person tells a lie that saves Albert from having to be exposed. Something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Which is, there always seems to be a scene like that in movies where somebody's pretending to be something else, you know.
Yeah, they're like, ruh-roh.
Albert will have an attraction to a man and be unable to pursue the presenting male.
Nope.
Yeah. Nope, that's just straight nope.
That's nope. There was no attraction to men, and there was no preventing him from pursuing his love interest.
Yeah, the presenting male had nothing to do, like, he was able to pursue his love interest because of his condition, not as a result of, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Able due to
their awesome.
Presenting male, not unable to, so, yeah. I basically got that one exactly opposite.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
Albert will be discovered and will be subsequently fired from their job. No, that didn't happen.
Albert was never fired.
Albert was
technically never fired.
And never really discovered either. Like, dying
he just kind of died, yeah.
The house will fall into chaos in their absence. Well, I mean, Typhoid certainly did a bit on the house, but it wasn't because...
I don't think...
But it wasn't because Albert wasn't there.
No, I think it was because people were dying.
Yeah, and the family will accept Albert for who they are and welcome them back. Nope, nothing like that happened whatsoever.
Nope, nothing like that.
So there's a lot of red on the bottom there. We started good, then we stumbled, and then we just fell down the hole. But you know what? I'm glad.
It's okay.
I'm glad. Because the movie I saw was a lot better than the movie I predicted. The movie I predicted would have been filled with more cliche. And honestly, I was just kind of being like, well, what if it was like Mrs. Doubtfire, but more Victorian?
What if it was Victorian Mrs. Doubtfire?
I predicted Victorian Mr. Doubtfire, and this movie could have been that, but it wasn't. It was much better than that.
So you're giving it an F. You're going to put it in Repo the Genetic Opera tier.
Oh, I would never compare this movie.
Because you're a hater.
Look, I gotta stand by my opinions.
Nobbs.
I'm sorry.
You're allowed to have opinions, even if I don't agree with them.
How dare you have opinions, sir? In this modern day and age?
I mean,
I know. Who do you think you are?
But Dre, I think for the most part, we would put movies about the same spot. I feel like we agree way more often than we disagree.
Yeah. I'm just, whenever you say that, my first thought jumps to Repo, and I have to remind myself that is something for me, not for you.
Repo's so good.
We do end up putting things on the same spots eventually at some point. I feel like more often than not, at least. But Twig, question is, how did you find this movie, and how would you rate it?
How did I find this movie? We already mentioned that. Tariff told me about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Your ass.
No, I liked this movie. I'm glad I watched it. I think that's probably already pretty obvious to everybody, because could you imagine all the praise that I was just lavishing upon this movie the entire time we were discussing, and then I get to the end here, and it's like, fuck this movie, fuck you.
You're like, fuck this movie. It's so, I can't find any major flaw with it, but God, it hurt to watch.
So now the question is does it go in the great movie or the I enjoyed it movie?
I think it's a great movie.
I didn't like it as much as Hunger Games.
This isn't about you.
I didn't like it as much as Hunger Games, but I definitely liked it better than The Sting and Tales from Earthsea. So it's between it's between Hunger Games and The Sting. The question is for me is just which tier do I put it in? Because even though I really, really appreciate everything about this movie and I enjoyed watching it and I felt the time go by, did it wow me enough to make me really say, that's a great movie? And I guess the big question I have to ask myself that'll answer the question is this a movie I'm going to go back to and watch repeatedly?
Fair question.
And if I have to ask myself that question, I would say it's probably no.
Wow.
I might.
You would watch Hunger Games again?
Yes, I would.
I've
Welcome,
never watched
Alfie
Hunger
B.
Games one time. Hi, Alfie.
Thank you so
And
much
I've
for
watched
the
this
raid.
movie
Welcome,
like 4
everybody.
times.
We're coming to a very exciting part of the end of the stream here. So what we do on this show is we watch a movie I've never seen before, and then I make predictions, and then we watch it, and then we talk about it. And we're talking about the movie Albert Nobbs. So where does Albert Nobbs go on the list? And I'm trying to think, does it go in the top tier or the second to best tier? And I think one of my criteria is this is a movie I'm going to watch again and again. And honestly, I don't think I will. I really enjoyed watching it one time, and I'm not sure if I'm going to come back to it, but I can have watched it. I can have talked about it. I might maybe just watch this episode again just to hear us discussing it again. But because I don't think I would like seek to watch this movie out again, unless it's like, okay, if I had that, like, you know, somebody who is like transgender and, you know, I wanted to expose them to the movie, I might watch it again then if there's somebody that should really see it. But in terms of just like, hey, I want to put on a movie, I think I'll pop on Albert Nobbs. I don't think I will. Therefore, I think I have to put it at the very top of the I enjoy it thing. But boy, I bet it's going to stay all the way left on there. I think it's going to be hard for a movie to top this in this tier. So this is like at the very tip top of this tier, and I think that's pretty good praise for this movie.
I think it's a great movie. I think everyone should watch it if you've never seen it. It's kind of sad, but it's bittersweet, as is life.
Yeah, I recommend this movie. Absolutely. Highly recommend. And even though we spoiled some parts of it, I think it's still worth watching just for Glen Close's performance.
Oh, for sure. The performance is
I think
I watched the movie.
Yeah, knowing what happens doesn't really detract from the severity of it. We're all dressed as ourselves, indeed.
Yeah, this isn't really
that line in itself. Oh,
great line.
Great line.
Fantastic line.
Yeah. People have noticed that you're a ghost. I don't know what we're talking about. There's no ghost in this theater. There's no ghost in this theater. There's no ghost in this theater at all. I don't know what people are talking about.
It's my friend, the ghost. My ghost friend.
Can I go home? There's ghosts here.
No, you have to stay here.
We might need to go home here pretty soon.
Okay.
We have rated the movie. We have discussed the movie. And everything is good.
Now we have to go eat burritos.
Yeah, if you have a burrito, you have to eat it. That's the law. It's the law. The burritos are supposed to be
anything else is heresy.
So yeah, I guess, is there any plugs you want to quick do before we head out of here, Tariff?
Yeah. You should follow me on Twitch and Blue Sky if you like art. I post art and animation whips on Blue Sky, and I also stream with my friends and Alfie, who is in the chat, who is a little goober, and I am what was I gonna say? I'm doing something. I don't know. I'm doing something. Oh, I'm part of a zine that's coming out soon. So if you guys follow me on Blue Sky, you'll have more information about the zine, and all of the funds for the zine are gonna go to support Palestine charity.
Yay!
Oh yeah!
Yay! So follow my Blue Sky for more information.
Follow the Blueski. I call it the Blueski.
I call it Blueski too.
Blueski. Wait, is my tits not working?
Tits?
Bentato's been redeemed, and Bentato is not thrown at me. Okay, well, tits is working.
Oh, I see.
What is it not connected to?
Oh, there it goes. Oh, you're smacking. Oh, you're smacking.
No, that was me doing the tits test. So my tits
does that not count?
Tits might not be connecting to Twitch right now, and that's why it's not working.
Oh no, they got surgery. Happy Pride.
Don't worry, we will be issuing full point refunds. Anyway, we're gonna get out of here. Dre, I don't think you have anything to plug. You're on hiatus.
I have nothing to plug because I'm on hiatus.
But then
yay, hiatus!
Then watch the other Draken streamers.
Yeah.
All right.
And rest.
We're gonna go watch it. We're gonna go watch a Khajiit play Minecraft. So we're gonna get out of here. And maybe we'll see y'all next week. We'll see you next week for Corvids, Creepers, and Conspiracies for sure. We also really need a guest for a week from today. So if you're gay and you want to be on the show, message me or Dreyfig, please. All right, thank you. And everybody have a great night.
Have a good one.
Hi, everybody. Have a good night. Get some sleep. Eat some burritos. Eat some burritos. Some burritos. Bacon.
I want a burrito.
Then get one.
I had frozen pizza for dinner. It was good.
Frozen pizza is good. What are you guys still doing here? The movie's over. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Well, I'm gonna get out of here because it's fucking